Commissioners, we're now live on YouTube.
Are we all ready to go Facebook Live and all that?
Yes, sorry, I thought that was what I was trying to say. We're live on YouTube. We're ready to go.
Okay, there we go. YouTube, that's what I meant, yeah. All right. All right, it's 5 o'clock. We'll call to order the April 12, 2022 Fire District 5 Commissioners meeting to order. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Alex, I just wanted to add one thing to the agenda. I called you and left you a voicemail yesterday. I just wanted an opportunity for public comment when we discuss the bond resolution, not at the end of the meeting. So if we could have an additional public comment period right when we're discussing the bond, and then we'll vote.
Yeah, we can open it up when we're in old business for the resolution.
So subject with that change, I would move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Incy,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Urbina,
Yes.
Chairman Wilsey.
Yes. Are there any upcoming commissioner absences? All right, bunch of shaking heads, so we'll move on. Communications, I think we had about 3 or 4 things in the packets there.
That's correct. There are 3 various thank yous in the packets.
All right. Thank you. Looks like everybody's doing good work out there with all the, it's all kudos. So that's good to see. So great job, everybody out there in the field that are taking care of the citizen of Gig Harbor in District 5. All right. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the March 22nd, 2022 meeting?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. No further discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Incy,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Urbina,
Yes.
Chairman Wilsey.
Yes. How about some voucher approvals?
I'll move that we approve the vouchers and ACH transfers as outlined in the agenda totaling $2,488,971.34.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the vouchers? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Enzi,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Ervina,
Yes.
Chairman Wilsey.
Yes. All right, Local 3390. I think we do have a report from them tonight.
Can you hear me?
We got you, Jake.
Okay, just wait for my camera to pop up here. Can you hear me? It doesn't look like I have a screen here. Here we
We
go.
can't hear you. We can't, we just have your the logo in the background there. Oh, there you are.
All right. Hi, good evening. If you don't know me, my name is Jake Flick, and I'm the union president for the Gig Harbor Professional Firefighters. I wanted to take a minute of your time tonight and let you know that your Gig Harbor Professional Firefighters stand in favor of the proposed bond. This funding measure means a tremendous amount to your firefighters, and it works in conjunction with the mission of our local. Having a training facility in our district and the ability to provide our members with live fire training directly helps the safety of our operations and the safety of our community. Rebuilding and renovating our stations is incredibly necessary and important as well. Retrofitting them and redesigning them for a diverse and cancer-free workplace is something all firefighters want, and we are extremely grateful for a commissioner board that is willing to ask the community if it is something that they want as well. So thank you for listening tonight, and I hope you have a good night. Thanks.
Thank you, Jake. All right, Chief's report.
Great, thank you. First off, we have Chief Bierstrom to update you on our department physician program.
Thank you, Chief. I wanted to let the board know that we've retained a new district physician, Dr. John Campbell. He comes to us from St. Anthony's Emergency Department, where he's worked with many of our crews for quite a few years, and I will share that they've all spoken very highly of him. He's going to bring to us his background, of course, in medicine, but also his understanding of nutrition and some expertise in metabolic health. So we're really excited to have him on board. In addition, Dr. Campbell is also the physician for Key Peninsula, and he's in negotiations with South Kitsap Fire at this time also. So we really think this is the start of a regional program. So excited to have him on board. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Chief Black is remoting in from a conference, but he has an update on logistics and our hybrid meetings.
Yes, thank you, Chief. I'm over in Wenatchee at the Fire Mechanics State Conference and attending a class over here and also supporting our mechanics and the conference in general. So very excited to be here. Thank you for that and that support and the good work that all the mechanics in the state of Washington do to keep our fire apparatus in tip-top shape. Secondly, just a quick update for you regarding our audiovisual and our hybrid meeting that you approved for us. Unfortunately, like many things in our industries, our equipment has gotten pushed back. We are starting to receive some of it through our vendor, and we are going to actually start installing what we have, running the cabling, some speakers, different things so that we can keep this project moving forward and get it up and running just as quickly as we can. But unfortunately, I'm trying to be optimistic, but I'm hoping that we will be up and running with all of that by August. So keep your fingers crossed as I am. End of report, Chief.
Thank you, Chief Black. You know, I know we all want to get back to in person, but as you know, we have to have a hybrid option. And unfortunately, we're going to have to stick with this for a little bit until we can get that. And just with the supply chains, it's unfortunate, but Chief Black's doing a great job getting everything done. And we'll get there as soon as we can. We just want to do it with excellence. Chief Meyer has an update on paramedics and laterals.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Just wanted to give you an update on a lateral hiring process for lateral medics. We had an initial process last week where we reviewed resumes and packets and KSAs and did interviews, and we are moving 7 forward lateral paramedics to our next portion of the process. So they're working with Chi and our human resources, and we are looking at doing some interviews, social and chiefs interviews the first week of May. And so we're looking to bring on some lateral paramedics. We're looking at potentially 4 positions. And looking at bringing those folks on starting September 1st for an internal Gig Harbor Academy, and probably hitting the shifts probably right around the first of the year. So we're hopeful, and we're looking forward to bringing on these lateral paramedics. So unless there's any questions, thank you very much for your time. End of report.
Chief Meyer, when we all kind of know the process when we hire a new firefighter paramedic and going through Recruit Academy and the time we do some laterals, both firefighter laterals and these are firefighter lateral paramedics. How long is their Recruit Academy and before they can hit the streets? What do we put them through before they hit the streets, and how long does it take?
Roughly it's going to take probably about 2.5 months. We're looking at having them on the street in November and December. And one of the things that we're looking at is we've done this in the past, and with the emphasis in the training division lately here with DC Corrigan and his crew, it's been where we're focusing on confirming skills. And it's been a great, we just brought on additional laterals, paramedics this spring, and it's a great opportunity to bring them on this fall. So we're excited, and we're just bringing them on for an internal academy to not only confirm their skills on the EMS side, but also on the fire side, and then get them the shift, I want to say, as quickly as possible, but we want to do that with good foundation of what we do here at Gig Harbor Fire. So we're excited. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I have 2 updates for you. Just the Ording Fire, Graham Fire, East, Central, and West Pierce, and myself, fire chiefs, met last week. We're discussing creating a training consortium. I don't know if you've heard of South King County's training consortium, but we're looking at creating that with those 6 departments. We had our first meeting as fire chiefs just to talk about exploring that. And nothing's been set in stone yet. It was 1 meeting with 6 chiefs, but I want you to know that we are exploring it, and we'll be working down that road. And you know, there's some advantages and some disadvantages, and we'll be evaluating that as we go. And I'll keep you updated on whether we create that training consortium here in Pierce County. There's one other thing I wanted to update you on. I think it was 3 weeks ago, I told you about an email that I had received from a citizen, and I couldn't put the email in your packet because there was a lot of personal information in there about the patient. But I met with the family this last week, and unfortunately, this lady's husband did not make it. But her and her son came in to meet with me to tell me about Chief Voigt, Tom Voigt, what a great job he did on scene. and then talked to me about Rob McCoy, one of our paramedics. Not only did Rob and Tom comfort them, help them, explain them through the process, but Rob McCoy went above and beyond. He went and played bagpipes at the funeral, and then he officiated the funeral for them. He's an amazing man and an amazing paramedic. And the family just wanted to come in and tell me about what we did for them, especially Rob McCoy. And they want to make a donation to our department about some AEDs and maybe a community AED. So I'm working with them to facilitate that. I told them it wasn't necessary, but appreciated. And we were kind of maybe even gearing it to a community AED to help somewhere in our community. So Chief Dumas has helped me with that. But I wanted to share with you what Rob McCoy did and how he went the extra mile for our community. And, these are only the ones that I hear about, right? These are happening each and every day. And I don't always hear from the community, but I just appreciate them and appreciate the work that Chief Voigt and Rob McCoy and the crews did on this call. So I wanted to share that with you. That is the end of Chief's report. Chief Johnson, you've unmuted. Did you have something? Did I miss you?
Nope, I shouldn't have unmuted. I'm good.
Yeah, you should have.
Chief, can I ask one question based on that?
Yeah.
So if, and this may be something that's not answerable yet, you've talked a lot about how we have struggled to find a home for recruit academies. Would creating this training consortium be something that would help with that? Would the training consortium run recruit academies, and then that would kind of alleviate some of those issues?
Yeah. Again, it was our first meeting, so I don't have all the answers, but yes, if we do model this after King County, South King County, it would be from the day they're hired to the day you're retired and all the training in between, and including joint recruit academies. So we have talked about FTEs and where they go, and if we pool them all into one, we've talked about how we would reimburse departments for FTEs and also for training facilities. If we have our training facility, we will get a financial reimbursement through this training consortium through that. And actually, I don't want to oversell, overpromise and underdeliver, but it will be a financial benefit to us in that way. So there's a lot of devil in the details, and we got to go a long ways, and we're just at our first meeting, but a training consortium would create it so that countywide we're doing that recruit academy together.
Thanks, Chief.
All right, thank you, Chief. Any standing committee reports? Tom?
No committee, but I just wanted to jump in here for a minute and piggyback off what the chief just said. I have a public thank you for Chief Eric Waters. He helped facilitate my wife's philanthropic organization through one or two county agencies, and it made it much, much easier for them. And I'd just like to publicly thank him. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. More good work by Chief Waters. Thank you, sir. Any other standing committee reports? I don't believe we had anybody meet, but did I miss something? That doesn't look like it. Everybody's shaking their heads. All right, chairman's report. I kind of glossed over it because I tend to power through the agenda, but I want to thank 3390 for their support on the bond resolution. And I look forward to partnering with them and with other community leaders as we go through this journey, hopefully starting tonight until August. So thank you, Jake, and everyone at 3390 for your support, and we'll be leaning on you. So appreciate that. All right, which takes us to old business. Resolution 2022-03, the bond resolution.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, may I take a few minutes and just kind of set the stage before we get to that of where we came from and how we got here?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, this all started way before I got here. Chief Burgess, Chief Watson, and the board had hired Rice Fergus Miller to create a capital facilities plan, and one was adopted in 2019. I was hired in March 1st with an eye towards looking at that capital facilities plan and maybe having a bond. I thought, we need to look. We kind of have the cart before the horse. We need to do our standard of cover and risk assessment to look at our department, and Chief Langlow and really off a lot of work that Chief Nixon did before him. We did a community risk assessment and a standard of cover. And that is based on industry best practice. It assesses where a fire department and its capabilities are at that moment, at that day. It's a snapshot in time of Gig Harbor Fire Medic 1. And as expected, good, clean data is one of our biggest challenges. We know that, and we saw that through our standard of cover. When we were going through the standard of cover, we did a community outreach survey to hear from our community on how we're doing and the expectations they have from us. We also, at that time, we purchased some Intera software to help us with data analytics. And although the data analytics and the standard of cover has kind of been put on the shelf for a little while, we will be taking that back off and picking it back up very soon to work on data analytics and improving our standard of cover. After the standard of cover was refined, or after the standard of cover, we picked up the 2019 capital facility plan, dusted it off, and came back to you with a refined capital facilities plan that was approved December 14th, 2021. At that same meeting, I made a recommendation on the capital facilities plan and how to fund that plan. With the capital facilities plan, as we went through that, and my recommendation, we really focused on quite a few things. And the first was we need to lower response times and improve service with our capital facilities plan and with a potential bond. And how do you do that? I've had that question a few times. How does a capital facilities plan, how does building buildings lower response times and improve service? Well, first, we have to reconfigure our stations for better turnout times. Station 51 is a perfect example of that. Our new plan for that is a 2-story station where we put all of the dorms on the first floor so that they can get to the rig room quicker, and we have lower turnout times. It's looking at the flow of all of our stations. We need a truck company in this community in the future. Station 51 has to be built to house that truck company. And it's to accommodate current and projected staff levels. Station 53 and Station 57 need to be expanded to house firefighters in the future. You can have all the firefighters you want, but if the facilities don't hold them, we cannot put those firefighters in the stations. We cannot put a truck company in our community. That's how we're going to lower response time and improve our services through a bond. The second thing we looked at was improving public safety and firefighter safety. President Flick talked about training. He talked about live fire. He talked about our recruit academy and the problems we have delivering live fire training, that we have to drive clear to North Bend, that we have to look at West Pierce and East Pierce and Central Pierce to put on academies for us. And when we hire, that training is vital for our community and our firefighter safety. Another safety that we don't always think of, and that's decontaminating our firefighters. One of the primary responsibilities of a fire chief is to afford our personnel the ability to go home safe at the end of their shift. It is up to me to reduce the risk to firefighters. And they have risk through cancer, through carcinogens, through virus transmission and bloodborne pathogens. And we need to build facilities that we can capture diesel exhaust at the source, where we have washing machines and extractors in the firehouse so that we can keep those contaminants out of their living quarters. They should not be taking that into their living quarters, and they certainly should not be taking that home. We need to build facilities that reduce virus transmission through bloodborne pathogens such as hepatitis, HIV, and other contaminants. We need to build these facilities to to protect our firefighters, frankly. We need to accommodate a changing and diverse workforce. You know, when these facilities were built, we were a volunteer fire department that was all male. We have changed. We are a different fire department today, and our facilities don't meet those needs. And we have a much more diverse workforce, and we need to provide facilities for everyone, all of our firefighters. We need to update and modernize our facilities, station security, ADA requirements, seismic updates. We need to reduce our maintenance costs. The working conditions for our firefighters, you know, the other day, I took Vince Dice from Gig Harbor Now through Station 58. And, you know, we know about it. We've visited these stations, but I go in there with a new eye that in the foyer, we have lockers set up for our firefighters to change in. That's not, we have leaky roofs. We have black rig rooms from all the soot and smoke from our diesel exhaust. You know what I'm proud of our firefighters though, is they don't complain. They come to work each and every day and they say, Chief, you know, we know you're trying. We know the commissioners, we know the community are trying. We're doing the best with what we have. And that's what they do each and every day. But I think we owe them better than what they have. So we looked at lowering response time, improving public safety, improving fire safety, accommodating our workforce, and updating and modernizing our facilities. So on December 14th, I gave you my recommendation on how I think we should fund that. And since that time, we have been taking stakeholder and community impact or feedback. We've been doing a lot of community outreach. Every single board meeting, we have had public input, asked for public input. Commissioners, you've been out in the streets and talking and asking for feedback. We have been partnering with IFF Local 3390 and the firefighters asking them. December of last year, we sent out a mailer to every single resident of Gig Harbor Fire and Medic 1. We've been using social media, press release. I've had with interviews with online and print media, and every single one of those, we have included my email address and asked for feedback from our community. I met with Peninsula School District Superintendent, City of Gig Harbor, the mayor, all council members, Chief Busey, and I presented to the mayor and council just a couple of weeks ago. I've spoken at Rotaries, Lions, Kiwanis, Chamber multiple times, asking for feedback, telling them about our plan. I've met with District 26 legislators, all three of them. In fact, today I had lunch with Representative Jesse Young, and he said he is all in for this bond. We've been asking and taking feedback from our community and our community leaders during this time. You know, at this point, I want to recognize Carl Kreitzer. You know, I have got feedback. I've got some emails from citizens, questions, and I followed them up. But Carl has been really active, and I just appreciate him. I appreciate that he gives us feedback. He has made change to our capital facilities plan, and we've adjusted because of his feedback. And it's nice to have a citizen that is that engaged and helps us. And I just want to call him out and say thank you and let him know that I appreciate that feedback. Now, there was one piece of feedback that he gave me on the resolution tonight that I disagree with him, but we have a good conversation, and I'm glad that he told me about it. And but we have taken lots of his feedback, and I just want to say thank you. You know, we've met with other fire districts to learn from them. We've met with Central Kitsap. We've met with East Pierce. We've hired Northwest Municipal Advisors and Foster Garvey as our bond counsel to advise us, to guide us through this process. March 21st, the board held a public meeting on this with a draft bond resolution. We took public testimony and feedback. We've asked for more emails, and I've received some. We've made some slight revisions, and in your packet tonight is a red line version. It's got red, blue, and green, but in essence, it's the before and after, and then you have a good, clean draft copy. Before we move on to that, I want to take just a moment and thank the local President Flick, Chief Oldenburg, Chief Meyer, Chief Johnson, Chief Black, Chief Bierstrom, Chief Langlow, Tanya, Katrina, and really our foundation that we have laid that I got to step into a year ago is because of all the work that Chief Burgess did. He's a great leader, and we get to move this forward on all the things that he did, and I want to thank him. So I'll just turn it over to you, commissioners. Chief Oldenburg, myself, Lee from Foster Garvey is here if you have any questions, any clarifications that you need. But I want to thank you for this process and all your support. And I'm here to answer any questions or move forward in any way you'd like, Chairman.
All right, thank you, Chief. And I just want to, I'm going to read resolution number 2022-03, just so that everybody here, the commissioners and the audience knows what we're talking about. So it's a resolution of the Board of Fire Commissioners of Pierce County Fire Protection District number 5, providing for the submission to the voters of the district at a special election to be held on August 2nd, 2022, in conjunction with the state primary election to be held on the same date, of a proposition authorizing the district to issue general obligation bonds in the aggregate principal amount of no more than 80 million for the purpose of paying or reimbursing costs for constructing a training facility, replacing Station 51 in Gig Harbor, renovating Station 53 on Fox Island, 57 in Crescent Valley, 58 on Swede Hill, and 59 in Artendale, and making other capital improvements and acquisitions. The principal of and interest on such bonds to be payable from annual excess property tax levies, designating the Assistant Chief of Finance and Administration and Bond Counsel to receive notice of the ballot title from the Auditor of Pierce County, Washington, and providing for related matters. Now, that is the resolution proper. There is a lot more. We did include, like Chief said, the red line version so that everybody knows that we did take some time and modified some of the language because we wanted full transparency. We wanted to have accountability in this. And I think with some of those language changes, you'll see that. Also, there's the clean version at the end for everybody's review. But right now, Commissioner Nelson did call me last night, and I thought it would be a good idea. I always want to hear what the community has to say. So I will open it up to public comment right now, just if anybody has any words or questions that they would like to ask. Like Chief said, Chief's here, Assistant Chief is here as well. And then Assistant Chief Oldenburg, okay, I see him there on my screen now. I just want to make sure I didn't have his face, so I trying to read names. And then also our bond counsels on the Zoom as well. So great opportunity for anybody that wants to ask a question or has a comment, and we'll open it up. So please raise your hand and we'll try to get you into the panel room here. I see Robin Denson has her hand up, and then John Burgess also. So if we can get Councilmember Denson.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Wilshy. Thank you, everyone. This is Robin Denson. I am one of your Gig Harbor City Council people, but tonight I am just speaking as a private citizen, not speaking on behalf of council. First, I want to thank Gig Harbor Fire for your amazing service to our community. Really, you are second to none. We are so proud of our department, and I hear every day how safe you all make our community feel. So thank you so much for all of your amazing work. Tonight, I'd like to express my personal support for the placement of a facilities bond on the August primary election ballot. It's vitally important, obviously important, that our firefighters have the training that they need to be most effective. And that means making sure they have the training facilities that allow them to have that hands-on live fire experience we know has got to be most effective and most helpful to them in order to keep them safe and the community safe. So I'm so supportive of that. It's also important that we make sure that we're planning for the future and that we're accommodating the needs of today, and make sure that we have stations that can accommodate all of the personnel and the changing personnel, the equipment, the apparatus that we have now and we will have in the future, and obviously the decontamination areas that the chief mentioned. So important for today and as this community grows into the future. All of the initiatives that you all have worked on making part of this bond measure are going to have a positive impact on our community, making our community safe, improving safety of our firefighters and medics and our environment. So you have my wholehearted support, and thank you for all the work that you've done leading up to this.
Thank you, Councilmember Denson, and thank you for your personal support for the bond measure, and then also all your hard work and understanding of how the district works and what we do. And we thank you very much. All right. I think we got former Chief Burgess here too. A voice from the past. If he can get it to work. You there, Chief?
Can you hear me okay?
We got you now. Yep. There you go. We got you.
Commissioner Wilsey?
Yep. I can hear you. Can you? You can't hear us though, maybe. You got us now? There we go. All right. How about now, Chief? Well, looked like he was connected to audio. Trying it again.
Trying to connect him better, Commissioner. Doesn't seem like he's able to hear you. I promoted him to see if that might help, but doesn't seem to be helping.
Oh, we can see him now. Can you hear us, John? We can hear you, so. There you go. How about now? Can you hear us? Was it? Can we tell? Maybe I'll.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. Sorry about that. Good. Well, I guess I've been gone too long. I'm having technical difficulties, but what a pleasure it is to come in and speak on behalf of this. Most importantly, I'd like the board to know that I am in favor of this moving forward. I think it's the right time for us to move this forward. The district has a long history of being very good stewards in our community. We last asked for a bond measure back in the 80s, actually. And when we did that, we built 6 fire stations. And we were successful in completing those fire stations on budget and along with on the timeline that was laid out. And a couple of things that I want to point out is that since that time, we have run we have our fire levy, and we have our EMS levy, but we have not asked for any additional capital improvements. And so I think it's time actually that we ask the citizens to come alongside of us again and do an infusion of capital to make this happen. A couple of things that I want to point out that I know that the board and the chiefs are aware of, but I haven't heard mentioned yet, is that that our tax rate is actually the lowest in Pierce County amongst our peer departments. Those that have a fully functioning EMS division that transports our patients, that has technical rescue, our rate is lower than West Pierce, Central Pierce, East Pierce, Graham, even Key Peninsula. So our tax rate is actually very, very reasonable. And so to make this request, I think is also reasonable. And I also believe that that these fire stations that you're talking about doing will help us provide a better service to our community. As the chief mentioned, it will reduce response times. It will keep our firefighters safe by capturing the carbon from the rigs and decrease cancer. I think it's vitally important that we move this forward. The fire stations and the training facility were actually ready to go when the recession hit. And when we had the Great Recession hit, we actually had to pause on these projects, and we needed to to use our funds to actually keep jobs, as we lost nearly 40% of our property values in the district. And now is the time. We had to pause it, and now is the right time. And so it's the right thing to move forward with training. It will keep our firefighters more safe. It will also allow us to be more effective. So with that, I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to speak to this important topic. And I want to ask again that the board move it forward. And thank you for listening. And sorry for the technical difficulties that I have. It's good to see everyone.
Oh, it's good to see you back again, Chief. Appreciate your support and your comments, and a little historical perspective on, when's the last time we actually went out to a bond, and that we were very successful and diligent with those funds when we had them last. So appreciate that, sir. Good to see you. Don't be a stranger. And we'll do the brush up on the technical stuff here. You'll have to get together. All right. Do we have anybody else out there in the audience wishing to speak tonight about the bond measure specifically? All right. I'm not seeing any other hands raised. All right, so any of the commissioners have any other comments, questions?
I have a comment, Alex. Commissioner Urbina and I have been on fleet and facilities for the last couple of years, and we both have put quite a bit of time and energy into this, both under Chief Burgess and under Chief Doan. And I just echo what Chief Burgess said. I think that this is not something that we have asked for since, I believe it's either 1984 or 85 when the last bond election was. If it was 84, I was 7 years old. If it was 85, I was 8. I'm now 45 years old. So I think it's more than time. I also think if you look at other comparable districts, this is industry standard and common practice to fund capital facilities in this way, and fire districts are limited in terms of the funding that we can get. The $1.50 per thousand fire levy and the 50 cent per thousand EMS levy, and as former Chief Burgess said, our rate is in relative terms low compared to other districts in the county, and even with a bond, I think it would continue to remain among the lowest in the county. So I think these improvements are necessary, and I think we put a lot of work into this process and done a lot of public outreach to try to get commentary from the community. So I would go ahead and make a motion that we approve resolution 2022-03.
And I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded for resolution 2022-03. Any other comments from the board or any more discussion? Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I'd like to comment real quick. So being one of the newest commissioners, I envision what a fire station looks like inside, and I kind of have my own ideas of what it would look like here in Gig Harbor, and I was kind of amazed at what it's not today. A little embarrassed, and I think we've done a really good job of maintaining what we built, but these buildings, our firefighters need better. It's just, they're not what they should be for our community. And I loved what Chief Doan said earlier about doing the best with what they got. And we have the best crew, but they deserve more. And it's time for us to step up and deliver.
All right, thank you, Joe. Any other commissioners wishing to make any comment? All right, so it's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Incy,
Absolutely, yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Urbina,
Yes.
Chairman Wilsey.
Yes. All right, and so the journey begins. I know it's been going on for a while, but now the the sprint will start to the finish line. All right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate all the comments from all the commissioners and everybody in the audience. It means a lot. And I look forward to partnering with folks to get this across the finish line. So, all right. Next item of business is executive session pursuant to RCW 42.30.110(1) to review the performance of a public employee. I do not believe that we will need more than 10 minutes. Does that sound about right, Chief? I don't think we're.
Yeah, I think it just, the contract's in your packet. If there are any questions, concerns, we can go over them. If not, it won't take long at all.
All right, and that brings up a great point. Do any of the commissioners wish to go to executive session over contract? All right, I'm seeing a bunch of shaking heads, so we will not go to executive session. I think the contract is fairly straightforward and it is in the packet. So we will move to that under new business. So personal services contract for Finance Director Crystal Hackmeister. Chief Oldenburg.
Good evening, commissioners. Included in your packet is the personal services contract for Crystal Hackmeister, as you referenced previously. Just a little bit of background information. The creation of this agreement was done through our human resource manager, Chi. She actually did a market analysis. The content of the contract is template, pretty close to template format, almost identical to the other personal services contracts that we have here as far as the benefits and things like that. And again, the wage was done on a wage survey in and around the jurisdiction with the same comparables that we used in the other positions that we have here in Gig Harbor Fire. So unless there is specific questions in regards to the content, which I'm more than happy to answer or address, I would recommend approval of the personal services contract for Crystal Hackmeister as a finance director.
All right. Any questions from the commissioners regarding the contract? All right. Seeing none, we have a motion to approve.
I think Kevin has a question, Alex.
Oh, Kevin, go ahead.
I didn't know where I'm going to put this in, but not necessarily the contract, but after reading the background history on greeting the new Crystal to our staff here, I got thinking we are very fortunate to have somebody of that caliber coming into our department to become part of our family and helping us out. And with this trek that we are taking, I think she is somebody that we're fortunate to have as part of that staff who will be working on that with us. So I believe we're very fortunate.
And I just wanted to say, having seen the introductory email, as somebody that attended Evergreen Junior High, graduated from Eastlake High School, and grew up at 214th Avenue Northeast and Novelty Hill Road in Redmond, it's nice to see somebody else from Redmond here.
Very good. Chief Oldenburg, you got your hand raised. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I would just second what Commissioner Ency had to say in regards to Crystal's experience and her expertise. Obviously, it was very competitive position. We had a lot of very qualified applicants, and I would echo Commissioner Ency's remarks in regards to Crystal's experience and expertise, not only with previous fire jurisdiction experience, but her bond experience is going to pay off exponentially as we move forward. And I think that shouldn't be underestimated. We're undertaking a large task potentially ahead of us, and we're very excited to welcome Crystal as to part of this team.
All right, thank you, Chief. Any other questions or comments? All right, I'd entertain a motion to approve the contract.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved in second. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Ency,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Urbina,
Yes.
Chairman Wilsey.
Yes. All right, and then we have some banking business to take care of since we've approved her contract. Chief Oldenburg.
Yep, so this is, I wouldn't say cleanup, it's just a minor change with the addition of Crystal to the team and her role as the finance director. We have added her to the list of personnel who can accomplish the day-to-day transactions and signature authority on behalf of Gig Harbor Fire and Medic One. So this resolution just adds her to the list of those of us who are already authorized. So barring any discussion or comments or questions, I would recommend the approval of the resolution as written.
All right, thank you, Chief. Are there any other questions on the banking signature authority? All right, seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Incy,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Urbina,
Yes.
Chairman Wilsey.
Yes. All right, then before we get to open public comment, I think Crystal is on the Zoom call, isn't she, Chief? If you could bring her in and introduce her. There she is.
Well, commissioners, this is Chief Oldenburg, and I'd like to welcome Crystal. Crystal is here today, or actually yesterday was her first day. She spent some time with us here in the office. So I'll let her go ahead and introduce herself. Maybe just a little bit about yourself, Crystal. That would be great. We've already talked about some of your professional expertise. So thank you for joining our team here. We're super excited. And the floor is now yours.
Great. Can everybody hear me? The
Yes.
fun technology of virtual meetings. I'm Crystal. I'm super excited to be here. Like Chief Oldenburg mentioned, it is my second day here with Gig Harbor. A little bit about my background for those that don't know. I do have a background in the fire industry and supporting public safety departments. Bellevue Fire is where most of my fire experience is, up in King County. So super excited to be able to use that industry experience and my prior fire and finance experience for all the key initiatives that we do have coming our way.
All right, thank you, Crystal, and it's a pleasure to meet you. And I'll echo the comments. Thank you for choosing us, and look forward to working with you and helping us. And we have a lot to do here in a few short months. And I'm glad you're here with us on the team. So I'll leave it if any other commissioners have any comments or just say hi. So. All right, we get the wave. I look forward to seeing you in person, and hopefully we'll have some a hybrid meeting here, shortly. Sounds like it might not be till August, but maybe we'll be around headquarters and see you there as we work through the bond and get the finances in order. So thank you.
Great. Well, it's nice to meet everyone.
All right. So we will move to open public comment. Those wishing to come forward, please state your name for the record. You will have 3 minutes. Anybody else wishing to address the board tonight?
Looks like you got Scott Corrigan and
Yep.
Carl.
Scott and Carl. Either one. Scott. You got us there, Scott? It looks like you're muted still. There we go. No audio. You there, Scott? Give it a couple more minutes here. Do you want to move Carl in while we're waiting for Scott to maybe figure out his audio?
I think, Commissioner, I'll move Carl in to panelist while we're waiting for Scott's to connect.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, Carl, you in there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
All right. Yep, got you, Carl. Thanks.
Carl Kreitzer, I live in Gig Harbor. I appreciate Dennis's comments, and I couldn't let it go by without saying that I've had a good relationship with three chiefs, Black, Burgess, and Doan. And there have been times, I think, with each that we haven't agreed on everything, which has made it all the more impressive that they've been willing to listen. And I would just pass on to anybody who might be listening in the community. If you have a question, you will find these folks are willing to listen and talk with you and explain their position. And I found that true of everybody on the staff. I've never had anyone say, you know, no way am I going to chat with you. So I pay that compliment to everybody on the staff. That's it.
Thank you, Carl. And I'll echo Chief's comments. You know, I think everybody on this board, you know, appreciates your input, and you're absolutely correct. We'll always listen to you and anybody that comes forward. We're always willing to hear other perspectives. I think that's what makes us successful. So thank you, sir. All right, Scott, did you get the audio figured out? Trying. How about now? It says you're connected. You got him?
Commissioner, I'm showing him as both a panelist and attendee. I think he got stuck. I recommend he leaves and comes back would be the best IT solution.
All right. Scott, if you could hear that, why don't you leave and we'll get you back in so you aren't stuck in Zoom limbo.
Commissioner, while Scott's checking out and checking back in, if you don't mind, sometimes we work hard and we check things off the box and then we just move on. And I know that you were right. This bond has really, it wasn't the end today, even though today's date has been on my chalkboard since I got here. The work is just beginning, and we know that. But we do need to pause and celebrate all the work that's gone into it, but to get to today, and then get right back to work tomorrow morning on getting through August and then executing. And then another thing, just celebrating Crystal being here. That was one of the things that I noticed right away when I got here. It took a year and a month to get her here, but I want to pause and celebrate that those two accomplishments with you before we move on.
No, thank you, Chief. And yeah, it's just I haven't been at headquarters yesterday or today, but I hope that there's a bit of energy there, and I think having Crystal around, whether it's via Zoom or in person at the office, just to have that extra set of hands to help with this heavy load that we're going to be lifting here and moving until August is very important. And yeah, and really, it's not just the work of the current team, right? And Chief Doan did this very eloquently. He said, we've had many chiefs and administrative folks over the last few years that have put in a lot of time and energy into moving us to this point. So thank you to all of them as well. So,
Commissioner Wilsey, I heard back from Chief Corrigan. He's out on the training ground and said that he is going to skip his turn to talk. He's having bad reception in the rain.
Okay. All right. we'll get the training chief some more training on IT, and then we'll get him back in here next time. So, all right. Any other hands raised? I'll take one more look here before we close it. It doesn't look like it. All right. So we will close public comment and move to good of the order. We have anything tonight from anybody for good of the order? All right, hearing none. Special interests and upcoming events. Tomorrow, we'll have the retirement luncheon for Division Chief Tracy Lyon, 11:30 at Station 50 headquarters here. So try and stop by and give your congratulations to Chief Lyon. Also 4:15 for anybody who hasn't filed their F1 yet. I just did mine last week, so make sure everybody gets that in and done. That's the deadline. 4:28 will be the Pierce County Fire Commissioner meeting via Zoom at 7 p.m. And then Saturday, April 30th, the Snore Saturday seminar series at the Suquamish Clearwater Casino. So I believe Chief and myself, and then is it Joe? Yeah. So, and Kevin, you'll be up there too. Good. All right. So we'll get some education and get our qualifications met. All right. Any other business or any other upcoming events that we need to talk about? Todd, I see you have your hand up. Chief Meyer.
Yeah, I just want to let you know next Wednesday on 4/20, we're going to be hosting an ICS refresher course and resource management. We're going to bring in Chief Dave LaFave and Chief Dustin Monroe to talk about BCs, ACs, and fire chiefs in the county. So we're going to be hosting that next Wednesday in our building from 9 to 1. So if you're out and about, and there's going to hopefully be good attendance from across the county, from all the partners concerning resource management when we get to larger incidents. So that's happening here and we're hosting it. So it's a great thing to see all these people in person after COVID. So end of report. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chief Meyer. I'm always impressed with the amount of training that we host here in Gig Harbor. I think it's good for us to showcase what we have and what we do, and it'll be nice to get everybody back in person together. So, any other special interests or upcoming events? All right, with that, we'll adjourn this meeting, and our next regular meeting will be Tuesday, April 26th at 5 p.m. right here on Zoom. Thank you, everybody.
Night, everybody.